You had a plan, a real one. You mapped it out, you believed in it, and you started moving. But somewhere in the middle, something shifted. An opportunity looked better than expected. A shortcut appeared. Someone gave you advice that sounded smart in the moment. So you adjusted, you pivoted, you improvised. And now you are standing somewhere you never intended to be, wondering how a plan that started so well ended so badly. That is not bad luck. That is what happens when you plan to begin, but not to finish. This is Law 29 of the 48 Laws of Power. Plan all the way to the end. By the time this episode is done, you are going to understand why most people lose, not at the start, but at the finish line, and how the ones who win have already lived the ending in their minds long before it ever happens. Napoleon Bonaparte was one of the most brilliant military minds who ever lived. He did not just win battles, he redesigned them. He could look at a battlefield and see the entire sequence of moves before a single soldier stepped forward. His early campaigns across Europe were masterclasses in total planning. Every supply line, every retreat path, every diplomatic consequence was thought through before the first cannon fired. He did not just plan to invade, he planned what came after the invasion. That is why he won so consistently, it seemed supernatural to his enemies. But in 1812, something changed. Napoleon marched into Russia with one of the largest armies ever assembled, and he planned the entry beautifully. What he did not plan was what happened when Russia refused to fight him directly, retreated deeper, and burned their own cities rather than surrender. Napoleon had planned to win quickly. He had not planned for what came after if they did not cooperate. Winter arrived. Supply lines collapsed. 600,000 men marched in. Less than 100,000 came back. The greatest military mind in history was not defeated by a stronger enemy. He was defeated by an unfinished plan. Here is what that teaches you. The most dangerous moment in any pursuit is not the beginning, when energy is high, and the end when the finish line is in sight. It is the middle, when unexpected things appear and your original plan starts to feel flexible. That flexibility is a trap. The moment you start adjusting your destination based on what feels good right now, you are no longer executing a plan, you are drifting. And drift always ends in a place you did not choose. Howard Hughes started building an empire with extraordinary vision. He planned his moves in aviation, in film, in business with a precision that dazzled everyone around him. But as success grew, his planning horizon shortened. He started reacting. He started chasing individual wins without connecting them back to a larger design. By the end of his life, one of the wealthiest men in the world was isolated, broken, and completely without direction. The vision that built his empire was the same vision he stopped using at exactly the moment he needed it most. He planned his rise. He never planned his legacy. This is the second thing the law wants you to understand. Planning all the way to the end means thinking past the win. Most people plan until they get the job, get the deal, get the yes. But what comes after the yes? What are the second and third consequences of getting what you want? If you do not answer that before you start, success itself can become the trap. The chess player who thinks 3 moves ahead loses to the one thinking 10. You need to be the one thinking 10. Jeff Bezos made a decision early at Amazon that looked irrational to everyone watching. He consistently chose long-term market position over short-term profit. Wall Street was frustrated. Analysts called him reckless. But Bezos had already seen the end of the game in his head. He knew that the company that owned the infrastructure of commerce would eventually own commerce itself. Every decision he made, even the ones that lost money in the short term, was connected to an ending he had already planned. That is not genius. That is discipline. The discipline to keep every move tethered to a conclusion you defined before anyone else could confuse you. Here is your one action for today. Take whatever your biggest current goal is and write down the last step. Not the next step, the last one. What does done actually look like? What happens the moment you succeed? Who is affected? What do you need to have in place before that final moment arrives? Most people have never written that down. Do it today. Write the ending before you take another step. That single exercise will immediately show you which of your current moves are connected to the finish and which ones are just noise dressed up as progress. Now here is what is coming next. Law 30 is going to show you something that most successful people never talk about openly. How to make everything you just worked this hard for look completely effortless. Because how you arrive matters almost as much as arriving. The full 48 Law playlist is right here on the Elite Insight Audiobooks channel. If you have not started from Law 1, go there now and build the complete picture. Every law connects. Every episode adds a layer. This is the full game, and you are in it.